that they interact with the estrogen receptor. So any tissue in your body that is affected by estrogen has to have an estrogen receptor to be affected. In reality, what these chemicals do is in the presence of estrogen, if you take a phytoestrogen, the estrogenic activity in your body drops. So it
interesting.
blocks the activity of estrogen.
Wow.
Anytime you give your body a hormone, it will stop making
in this instance, so a receptor is sensitive to not only what's binding to it, but how strongly, right?
Okay.
And in addition, different chemicals have the ability to activate it to a different degree.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. Well, phytoestrogens can bind to the estrogen receptor without activating it.
Okay.
Interesting.
Leaving the natural estrogen that you have around in your body unable to access the receptor, so estrogen activity goes down.
Oh, okay.
Now, if you have no estrogen, the opposite happens.
Okay.
You have no receptors with estrogen in them, and when something binds with them, you get some estrogenic activity.
Oh my gosh, that just makes so much sense to me, because I've taken like black cohosh or something, and I just get worse. Probably because I have some estrogen, and it's blocking that from getting in there and actually doing its job. Wow.
So the research was, if the subject has zero estrogen, is there anything that they can take that would increase estrogen activity? Yeah. They go, yes. But the message that comes out is this replaces estrogen. It works just like estrogen. No, it doesn't.
Wow, good. I love that.
It interferes with
great information.
Actual estrogen.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Good.
I know.
Love it.
Head blown right there.
I love that, because that makes a lot of sense to me, because I couldn't understand why some of those things weren't helping me. And okay, I love it.
Yeah, any pharmacists out there are going, oh, well, that's just the beginning of the story, and I'm sure they have a lot more to say about it. But
that at least makes sense to me. That makes some good sense.
Well, because women are targeted by these companies that make these multivitamins or these supplements geared at women, and they'll have all of these things in and they'll say it will help with this and that, and that's not the truth. We're being suckered.
Yeah.
Well, I love that, because and what about, like, okay, this is a little off, but men and soy or phytoestrogens, taking that, how does that affect a man?
It depends how old he is. If he's a baby, it blocks the activity of androgens and produces estrogen activity where you don't want it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And of course, it's unethical to take human babies and do this with. So all of this research comes from baby animals, right? If you give a pregnant female animal a bunch of phytoestrogens, it does affect the development of the fetus and the newborns in a negative way. You don't want to give babies phytoestrogens, right? Boy babies.
And formula, it used to be when my kids were little that if they couldn't handle, milk, we would give them soy formula.
Yeah.
So,
there was, I was aware of that too with my babies, and I always says, no, boys don't get the soy, we're going to give them the other. There really wasn't a lot of transparency from the formula producers as to, is there any phytoestrogens in this soy protein? Because they are different. It isn't, well, if there's soy protein, there has to be the phytoestrogens. And you can have no protein and just the phytoestrogens. So how much is retained in that protein that was used in this formula? And you don't know.
Yeah, okay.
But an adult male, there's been conflicting research.
Well, and I'd say it too, because I worked at Starbucks, and the guys would come through with men wanting a soy latte, probably because maybe their wife said they should drink soy, or I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. But I'd be like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? I mean, so is that like, was I frightened on the right side? Or
I wouldn't call it an emergency, but now you're into the cultural things that are happening, right? Like I say, the toxic masculinity. Right. Well, give them a soy latte and tell them to, get onto Pinterest for a while.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Whereas other guys will push the other way and say, "No, I want my coffee black, straight, and no, I'm going to go shoot something." That's.
Does it affect them though? I mean, physiologically, can it?
It's difficult to say. Over time, in chronic doses, yes, it can have an impact on their endocrine system or on the hormonal activity in the body because they have the constant presence of something that can activate estrogen receptors.
Okay.
Again, it's not as strong as estrogen, but it does have the ability to access estrogen and activate those receptors. So it just doesn't make sense. Why would you?
Yeah,
right? It doesn't fit. But I wouldn't say if somebody has soy protein or whatever occasionally, it's not going to have any meaningful impact on their health.
I guess they'll know when they start asking for their wife's bra. I might need to start using
if they start asking if those pants make them look fat, then they've had too many.
My friend Luke asks about plant-based protein versus animal-based protein, and what's your opinion on that?
There's definitely
pros
a
and
difference.
cons.
Yeah.
There's a difference. Protein quality is based on studies where they give a growing animal different proteins and they see how well they grow.
Okay.
And they have tests where they can say, well, when I feed them this protein, where does it end up? Does it actually end up incorporated into body tissues and muscles, or does it go away some other way? And really what it comes down to is that protein's amino acid profile. So proteins are just chains of individual amino acids.
Okay.
Just like a chain, and each link is a different amino acid. Let's say you have a typewriter, and it's missing the E key. Right?
We need that all the time.
That's an important one.
It's missing all the vowels, right? Well, you ask, well, how much can I write with a typewriter that's missing all the vowels? Well, maybe there's things that you could write. And then you have another typewriter that only has vowels. Well, if I have the two, maybe I can take the parts and I can make a good typewriter.
Old MacDonald.
That's
E-I-E-I-O.
Yeah. That's the case with plant proteins. They are incomplete, meaning they don't have all the letters that they're supposed to.
Okay.
And the body can only use them to the extent that the lowest level of amino acid, it's the limiting factor is, well, there's lysine, but it's only in this tiny amount. Well, then that means the body can use all the rest of the amino acids to that level. Then it's out of lysine. So now we got to stop because we're missing this ingredient.
Okay.
We're making a cake.
They all work together.
Yeah. Let's say you're missing salt.
Okay.
And, well, now you got to stop making the cake even though you have tons of flour and a bunch of eggs.
Okay.
It's like, well, until we get salt, we can't make any more. Okay. The body treats plant proteins in that way. And that's why the recommended vegetarian protein source is usually beans and rice, because rice has the amino acids that beans is low in, and vice versa. You combine them, and you have a decent, full profile of amino acids. Now, your dairy proteins are not like that. They have all the amino acids in high levels, and so their quality, due to this fact, is considered higher. And what that means is you can eat less of a dairy protein and get the same growth potential than you can with a plant protein. Okay. And let's say I have a single source plant protein and it only has a little bit of that amino acid. Well, that means I have to eat more and more and more so that I can get enough of that one. So you're having to eat a lot more protein to get the same benefit of a little bit of protein from a dairy protein.
Okay. That makes sense. Now, what about health benefits? I mean, as far as, your body absorbing the amino acids, I mean, that's going to make a difference in your health. But, I mean, we have, vegetarians versus non-vegetarian. I mean, is there good studies on one lifestyle over another, or?
Different proteins have been compared, and they've been compared a lot. In general, they've found that you can get the same benefit from mixing plant proteins as others. Now, as far as other health aspects of that particular protein, I wouldn't say there's a lot other than the fact that plants have other chemicals in them that can be beneficial for you, right? Phytochemicals, polyphenols, different things that are present in plants.
That maybe if we eat a lot of meat, we don't eat those.
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
On the other hand, dairy proteins in particular are interesting in that they create some interesting bioactive peptides that actually make the body more anabolic. It causes the body to release more insulin-like growth factor and insulin and those things that perhaps an athlete would be most interested in if they're trying to grow big and strong and want to be an athlete. As far as aging, though, however, there isn't a lot of need for that other anabolic, let's say, aspect of
that makes
dairy
sense,
proteins. And you may want more of the phytochemicals just for, liver health or antioxidants and those kinds of things.
So maybe as you get older, a little more plant-based diet might be healthy for you.
And then reverse it. So, so once you're through running around acting like an idiot, you call yourself an adult, right? Then you can start thinking about, okay, I'm going to have a long stretch where not much changes, hopefully, and I need to maintain my health.
Okay.
And that's where people usually just throw in the towel. It's like, what? Because the changes are so slow and so subtle, they don't realizing they're becoming unhealthy until they're flat out unhealthy. But then when we spoke about elderly, it would be good to give your grandparents or something whey protein, which is more anabolic than a soy protein. But that's because they're in a situation where their body is not responding in a normal way to protein as it did when it was younger.
Good. That's good to know.
So I would say there's phases.
Okay.
Right?
Pretty much like everything in life.
Yeah. And they're not necessarily concerned with longevity in their 80s. I think they're counting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you still want to enjoy those years,
Yes,
exactly.
The years you have, you want to enjoy. So,
and you want to keep your muscle mass so you can stand up and down and, still stay mobile and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and then I have another friend that she actually has trouble keeping weight on. So her question was, what can I do? Is there something that can help me to gain weight rather than just continually losing weight?
Yeah. Again, back to protein.
Okay.
Right? So protein is what the body's going to use to maintain muscle tissue and even bone. People are unaware that low-protein diets are hard on bone because bone is made of a protein lattice that then has minerals bound to it. And increasing protein intake can increase bone density and bone formation. So not only muscle, but also bone. A lot of people who complain about having the ability to gain weight or maintain weight overestimate the amount of food that they eat. And if you watch them closely, you realize that, yes, they may on occasion eat till they're full along with everyone else, but then when everyone else is snacking or feeling hungry, they don't. And left to their own devices, they really don't eat that much. And that's when they need to go on a diet where rather than limiting the amount of food that they eat, they are intentionally eating at a specific time of day, specific amounts of food.
Yeah.
And really taking control of what they're eating. And they will find then if they do that, they're not so different from everyone else. They will gain weight.
Just have to pay more attention to that.
Yeah.
The people that have a hard time losing weight will love that answer.
Yeah. Right. But we all are different. I mean, sometimes, I do know people that are very thin and it's hard for them because people criticize them for being so thin and they have a hard time gaining weight. So I think that can be an issue for people too.
Well, and we all do have different body types. I mean, that just is the truth.
Yeah.
Some of us are going to easily carry more weight, gain weight easier,
Think
no
our
question,
parents.
and others, both of my kids are these lanky, thin kids. They don't have a lot of fat. And if they continue that as they get older, it makes it harder for them to get fatter because they don't really have a lot of fat already.
So genetics may play a role in all of this too,
right? Very much so. Very much so.
Whether you're bigger boned, whether you're, very petite, whether maybe your parents kept weight on more, you might be more likely.
Yeah, and habits you learned.
Yeah. I suppose as you're growing up. Another question that, the ketogenic diet seems to be very faddish right now. I know it's been around a long time, but can you explain a little bit about that? And one of my friends, this is my cousin, said that she went on it for a little while and didn't lose any weight at all. So she expected to, but didn't, and wondered about,
I've known
wondered about that,
too, that have kind of gone more keto. And I think Brian's probably going to actually distinguish what true keto is.
Yeah, right.
And then that might answer some things as well. But yes, I've had some people and clients as well, you drop their carbs, you do this, and they don't seem to respond as well.
Yeah, clinically, a ketogenic diet is 70+% fat.
Wow, because that is a lot of fat.
You're drinking a cup of cream.